Hello and g'day. Today I'm going to show you how to tea dye papers if you have back pain. Now this video is good if you have back pain or not. My name is Donna and I hear this a lot. A lot of crafters suffer with some sort of pain in their daily life, and pain affects more crafters than we realise. It doesn't matter what level of pain we have to bear, all pain sucks. Whether it's a little stiffness after you've been sitting down for a while, or whether you have a chronic pain that forces you to stop crafting or limits you. Now, I'm medically retired, and I've noticed a few other ladies are also medically retired. And that's why I'm fortunate enough to be a full-time crafter. The trade-off is I have chronic pain and I have it every day. Now I can't be cured, well, not until the medical system comes up or invents something that will be able to help me, or they find me a new body, whichever comes first. I've learnt to work with my disability, not against it. I have a few tips for you that I hope will inspire you to craft with pain and be patient. The first tip I have for you is how I tea dye my papers. Now, if you're in a hurry to get this done, it increases tension, which increases pain and decreases your productivity. I also find it increases mistakes, and then you develop frustrations. I used to do everything in a hurry. If you have a look around the world today, everyone's in a hurry. Not anymore. I walk slow. I take my time. If I'm late with a video, I don't apologise. I just say I'm late. Oopsie. So let's get started, and I'll show you how I tea dye my papers, even though I have to sit down for a rest not long after I start. I get my tea bath ready. I'm just using this, it's bigger than an A4 size container. I don't use this for anything else but my tea bath. So I've got cheap tea bags. I buy them by the box, and mostly if they're on special. I've got my kettle boiled. So I'm pouring hot water directly into the tea bath container. How dark you want your papers or how aged you want them to be depends on how many bags you put in. I think I've got about 10 bags in here. So that's steeping. You can stir it around if you want to release more of the colour out of the tea bags. Because the water straight out of the kettle would be too hot for me to dunk my papers into, I'm going to pour in one more jug of just cold water, just tap water. What this will do is will give me a deeper bath for dunking, and it will cool the hot water down, because if I was to put my papers straight into this really hot water, they would become very brittle, very soft, and they would tear. And they would tear when I start to lift them out. So I've got my papers ready. I'm just using normal, everyday, cheap copy paper. You can take the tea bags out if you want. Just give them a squeeze and take them out. I'm going to put the paper in one sheet at a time, and I'm going to push it down with a paintbrush so that I don't absorb too much of the tea directly into my fingers. You can wear gloves and you can push them down with your fingers. Now you might be asking, why am I putting in one sheet at a time? And that's a good question. The reason I'm doing this is because if you picked up 10 sheets of paper and just put them straight in the tea water, they wouldn't colour in between every sheet. They'd stick together and when you pull them out, you'd have some random spots of colour around the edge, and right in the centre where all the pages were together, the water won't flow through into them. So you do need to do them one at a time. See how when I'm pushing it down, you still see lots of white paper there? If they were together, they'd stay white. I'm also staggering the sheets. I'm not putting them directly on top of each other. I'm putting one higher up to one end and then the next sheet I'll put further down the bottom. So by staggering them, I'll be able to lift them out easier because they do stick together. If they were even, I'd have a little bit of trouble pulling them apart. So just keep on going like that. I'm standing up, I'm not sitting down, and already I'm starting to feel a bit uncomfortable. So all I've done is I've walked out, I've put my papers on the table, I've put the container on the table, I've put my tea bags in the container, boiled the kettle, poured the water in and started dunking a few sheets. And I'm starting to feel a bit uncomfortable. So I haven't really got far into this at all. So I figure it won't be very long and I'll have to leave this and sit down. I've got a few different types of paper. This is out of an exercise book and it's too big to fit in the tub, so I'm just going to turn it around and I'll put it in sideways. And see, I'm not folding it. Oh, I've got two sheets here. Hang on, I'll have to get rid of one. And it's really thin too, so it behaves a bit badly. So I'm not folding the two sheets together and dunking them in for the same reason as I said before, because the tea won't get to the inside page. It'll stay white. So fold it over and do them separate. You see that? So I haven't got them folded evenly. I've got one side shorter than the other. Now at this stage I'm not worried. I know that I'm starting to feel a little uncomfortable and I know that any minute I'm going to have to go and bail out and sit down. What this does is, because I stay relaxed in both my mind and my body, I only have to rest for a short time. The tea water, it will still stay warm, hot enough, and I can go and sit down for a little while, and I'm going to leave these papers in the bath water. I don't have to take them out. They can sit there and they'll get a nice dark colour. And I can go inside and I can sit down and I know I only have to rest for 5 or 10 minutes. And then I can come back out and continue on. So I've stopped putting the papers in the tub and I've had my rest. And I'm just going to have a little sneak peek at these papers that have been soaking for 10 minutes. And they're looking good. So I can take that one out and I'm just going to lay it down. All I do is lay it straight down flat on the table, and when I fill the table up I can then just move this tub out of the road and I'll put one of the wet sheets where this tub is. Well, look how good that looks. It ages the paper perfectly. See, this one here is, because it's such fine paper, it's ripped, but I'm not worried about that because I will use this piece for ephemera, or I can use part of it as a shorter page. See how the paper's sticking together here? I'm not going to try and separate them from the tea bath. I'm just going to pull them out together and lay them on the table and pull them apart on the table. It is much easier to do that. Now, air drying is the best method for me, and I air dry because I find it too difficult to go backwards and forward to the oven. Whereas this way, I know I can pull them out of the bath, lay them on the table, and then walk away. Because I have to sit down so often, I do have to walk away. And if I was using the drying in the oven method, I can't walk away. I've got to keep going. Once you've got the oven on, instead of me laying them on the table here like this, I've actually got to put them on a tray and then put them in the oven and then rotate them over and over and over again until I've dried, 20 or 30 sheets. And for me, that is a very uncomfortable task, so I don't do it. So I'm taking my time here, I'm not rushing, and I'm not trying to do 100 sheets. I'm not trying to do 50 sheets. What I'm doing is 17 to 20 sheets. The reason I'm only doing 17 to 20 sheets is because if I'm going to make a journal, for example, I might use 5 sheets of tea-coloured copy paper per signature. Just say I'm going to put 3 signatures in my journal. So that's 15 sheets of paper. So I will tea dye 15 sheets of paper with 2 to 5 spares. So that's where the 17 or 20 comes in. So if you know you're only going to make one journal, there's really no point to push yourself and put yourself through the discomfort of tea dyeing too many. When tea is so cheap, pay $2 for a box, dump the water when you're done, and just do a manageable amount of papers to get one project done, just to get done what you want to make now. And if you're not making a journal and you just want some tea dyed papers for making ephemera and making a few projects, just do this many. Do as many as you can fit on your table. What happens when I have a lot of breaks in between? See how some of them are dark and some of them are light? The darker ones are the ones I started off with at the beginning, and the lighter ones are the ones I dunked for a very short time when I was nearly finished. And I like that variation. And I also like to dry them in single layers. They dry fairly flat and I don't have to iron them. They don't have too many waves, and that saves me a lot of discomfort as well by not having to iron them because they're nice and flat. You can see how flat they are. Another way to get them a bit flatter if you wanted them really flat is to take them off the table at this point here when they're 98 to 99% dry. Put them all together in a stack like this and then weigh them down with a book. You can do that for a few hours or you can weigh them down overnight. If you feel you can't do tea dyeing because of chronic pain, I hope you'll try the way I do it to get through, and that's just do it in little bits. Stop, start, stop, start. Don't try and start it and keep going. Tea dyeing is forgiving. It's something that you don't have to do right now. You can stop and start it. It's not like gluing. Once you lay that glue on the paper, you have to keep going. You've got to deal with it quick. You can take your time. If space is an issue for you, you have no choice but to layer your sheets or take over your kitchen or peg them up or whatever it takes. But do slow it down and relax. Don't push yourself until you feel so awful that you can't continue. Stop to rest, and you may surprise yourself about how much you can get done. I'm Donna. Thanks for watching, and ciao for now.